the most practical things to do as a nihilist um, are like things that I can't say because of TOS. Um, Otherwise, this whole pretending that you're just going to ignore your aging body is just a joke. It's not real. What up? I'm making this video because Asmon posted a video today where he was talking about his health, and his health is in decline according to him. And I had some thoughts about it, so I thought I'd make a little video. It's one of those things where he's in the same spot as a lot of middle-aged 30-year-old men, and where he has this idea that some of the best parts of his life are behind him. And in his case, he's probably reminded about it every day, even as good as his life probably seems to most people on the outside. You're looking at a very much tortured individual in many regards. And it's a lot of stuff he's been pretty public about, so it's not like I'm making huge, leaps or conclusions about anything. But anyways, I want to watch this video.
I guess I can probably just say, I kind of don't want to hide it a whole lot. Is so I've been having problems recently. Like I remember the day that I ended my stream early. So I went to the emergency room that day, and because I felt uncomfortable, like a discomfort in my chest. And so they did an EKG on me, and they did all this stuff, and they said that I was okay, but my blood pressure was very high. And so it was because I've actually been I've had very bad stress problems a lot. The point, and my policy is that, what do I do when I'm scared? What do I do when I'm anxious? What do I do when anything I'm upset, I'm sad? It's very simple. I fucking ignore it and I keep going no matter what. But I was worried that it was that it's killing me, and I'm concerned that it might be. And so I've had to dial back a lot of the stress. And so I've had to deal with this, and my blood pressure was in the 170s. It was really, really bad because of how stressed out I've been. And so that's why I haven't been streaming as much for a number of days. 170. So I just had a nosebleed. And so I thought to myself, oh my God, because that's an indicator of a stroke or a heart attack. And so that's why I went downstairs to take my blood pressure in to make sure that I was okay. And I checked my nose, and I found I was just picking at my nose the wrong way. And it seems like I'm fine.
Yeah, so ignoring your problems and just hoping that they go away is never going to work. And I think that, for one, when your presuppositions are that nothing matters and life is meaningless, and therefore I should not care about anything, and I try to ignore everything, including the things that make me give me fear or anxiety, or bother me, that's a recipe for a pretty bad time. And it's fundamentally never going to work because human beings aren't built to not care about anything. Human beings are built to care. They're meant to care about each other. They're meant to care about themselves. And they're meant to care ultimately about their relationship with God and try to become the person that they were born to be. And so nihilism is always terrible. There is no argument that I've ever seen in which nihilism ever works out in the person's favor that adheres to that belief system or operates from that presupposition. If your starting point is that nothing matters and everything was a random accident and you fundamentally don't matter and other people don't fundamentally matter at an ultimate sense or at a base level, I don't think it's any wonder the type of conclusions that you reach. And I think that's why you see some of the most intellectual nihilists throughout history. They generally unalive themselves because that's the logical conclusion of nihilism. If you're going to be logically consistent, nihilism, that's where that leads you.
So that's the reason why. And I've been exercising every day now, and I've changed what I was eating too already, and I'm probably going to have to schedule an appointment with my doctor about this to make sure that I'm okay. Because it was really weird that I had like that feeling. That's heart attack level? Yeah, it is. But I just checked it. It's not anywhere near that. It's like 135, which is like, that's not great, but it's not also you know, like worrisome. Right, 135 is still high. Panic attack, yeah, cardio will help for this. Yeah, and that's exactly what I've been doing. And so that's the reason actually why I've been doing shorter streams. I don't really want to talk about it a lot. Just give me a second. My dad's calling me. Hello? Hey. Yeah. Can you just let me do this? Like I'm like, I'll talk to you later. I don't like to talk about that kind of stuff because it just I think it invites a lot of like parasocial stuff. But you know, since I've had to end stream early a few days and like it's still fucking with my head. Like oh god. Oh Jesus.
So I don't really like the fact that he's trying to I think the parasocial comment is a little bit disingenuous because if you were really worried about inviting parasocial behavior, you would never become a streamer in the first place, nor would you talk about your personal life as openly as this. So that's a little weird to me. I think he treats his stream sometimes as like a, you know, his own personal therapy session. He's gonna get, you know, a million views from this video probably. He's not at all worried about creating parasocial behavior. It's, I don't know why he says stuff like that. It's weird.
Yeah, and so that's really it. You start eating healthier, it's catching up to you, bro. I think it's honestly stress more than anything else. Like it's really just stress, and it's a lack of exercise. And so I'm going to exercise and stress out and try to be stressed out less. Like, cause it was weird that stress is an insidious killer. I know. Could be hypertension. It is. Yeah. And so that's been the position that I've been in. And yeah, I've been trying to just be on and, you know, stream as much as I can and everything. And, you know, say, fuck it. It's fine. But, I don't want to kill myself. Right. Which is weird. Right. Because like I've tried very hard to like kind of move away from like being afraid of like dying and like all that stuff. But man, that day I realized that like, holy fuck, like I was scared, man. I really was.
This is more proof that the logical conclusion of nihilism is death. So I think this is more proof that he's having a fundamentally difficult time adhering to his own world view, his own world structure, if you will, his own presuppositions. You know, pretending that nothing matters when you're confronted with your own mortality does not hold up very well.
And so I ordered protein bars, and we're drinking water now in between soda, and we've got to make some improvements. That's it. And so that's where we're at. That's pretty much about it. So
speaking of the parasocial, why did he refer to himself as we right there? We're drinking water. It's like, nah, bro, it's just you. You're drinking water.
So I don't want to talk about it a whole lot more or anything like that. It's whatever.
And yet,
open a Gatorade.
You're going to talk about it for another 5 minutes.
Well. Yep, there we go. And yeah, I'm going to change my diet and eat a little bit differently because I don't want to have to go on medication. I think that the first thing, people that go on medication die. In my opinion, like I think that like there's all these times like I know people that are like younger than me and they have 5 different medications. That's terrifying, absolutely fucking terrifying. And so I want to do whatever I can to like be able to like overcome it physically myself. I think that the human body is made to last. It's made to endure. And I'm 34, right? And so like it's gonna be a while, right? I've been alive for a while, and a lot of my friends have already had a lot of issues. And so, I think it's the stress, and I've been like not getting a lot of sleep in a lot of days too with like anxiety. And so, yeah, that's what it is. And so there you go. And streaming stressful. I want to make you guys understand this.
It's not that stressful.
This is the least stressful part of my day.
Yeah.
I love streaming. I love doing it. It's not.
That's like a kid's take on streaming. Like, that's a child's take on streaming. Regular life is 1000% more stressful than anything streaming could ever be. And just to back up a second, I think that, you can try to be healthier, and to some extent, you should be trying to be as healthy as you can be. You shouldn't obsess over it. Just like you shouldn't obsess over anything. But no matter what you do, you are going to die. And no matter how healthy you are, how many times you abstain from junk food, or partying too hard, or stressing yourself out, you could lay on a beach for the rest of your life, eating the healthiest food, drinking the purest water, and doing nothing all day but lounging, getting sun, and having no stress other than enjoying nature, and you are still going to die one day. So it doesn't fundamentally address the problem that he's facing here, and he's expressing, I think, inherently, although one level below what he's actually saying, which is, he hasn't really been able to achieve the supposed zen-like state of the nihilist, in which he can operate in life carefree, not caring about his own mortality or anything else that happens, eating whatever he wants, doing whatever he wants. It's becoming increasingly obvious to him, and I think anybody watching that's not a sustainable or tenable position. So it doesn't do the work that he thinks it does, which is, if I just don't care about anything, then I'll never have anxiety, I'll be stress-free, I'll be carefree, because We weren't designed that way. And when you replace the truth with your own idea and your own presuppositions, and you try to make your truth the fact that nothing matters, then you're fighting a battle in which no matter what you lose, even if you make it 80 more years living that way, one day you're going to wake up and realize you don't have much longer.
Your fault. It has nothing to do with the stream. Obviously, chatters can be annoying. Of course. But that's not the real reason, okay, guys? It's really not. I wish it was the reason because it would make it so fucking easy to solve. I would just stream less. So yeah. That's so good to hear that. Yeah, no, I'm okay. And so I just want to let you guys know. And I've already been making improvements for a few days, and I've already seen a tremendous decline in like those like high spike blood pressure stuff. And you know, like going down today, like just a few minutes ago, it was lower than it pretty much ever has been. And that was like in the middle of my stream, in the middle of discussing all of this stuff, right? And so I do think that I've already made a tremendous amount of improvement, and I hope that I keep making more improvements. And that's what I'm going to keep trying to do.
You can improve all you want, and that's good. And it is something you should do, is improve. And I'm not trying to sit here and tear Asmon down. You should try to improve your life, but it doesn't solve the ultimate problem that he's dealing with. And I think he touched on this problem with his video he did on with Dr. K a couple of years ago. And of course, Dr. K being this, you know, semi internet therapy guy. And he's, I think, you know, he is a Buddhist or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, have you heard about the Buddha? Have you heard about Buddha? Tell me about Buddha." That whole interview where he was trying to basically be like, "Oh, well, you're afraid of death because you haven't met the ultimate nihilist, which is the Buddha. Just zen out, man. Happiness comes from within, man. The truth comes from within, bruh. Like, you haven't zenned out properly. Have you had your Zen packet today? Have you had 42 grams of nicotine today? You got to get your Zen on." Yeah, that's because, you know, one thing I would say is that I think Asmon thinks that the truth is some sort of construct. He thinks that truth is some sort of philosophy, and he operates obviously from that. And then with Dr. K, for example, he thinks the truth is a person, and I also think the truth is a person as well. But the person that I think is the truth is right there. The truth is a person. And ultimately, I've heard Asmon say this a lot. He thinks that religion is a coping mechanism, but I would argue that nihilism is a much more obvious and worse coping mechanism. And I think that anything can be used as a coping mechanism. I understand his point that he's trying to make about religion. Him and I have a lot of similarities in life. We're both in our mid-30s. We both are closer to our moms than our fathers, probably. We're both gamers. And we've both dealt with our fair share of nihilism and anxiety and longing for the past, nostalgia that we miss. All that's very understandable, a very human thing. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that the truth is a person. The truth is a person. His name is Jesus Christ. And that's not just a coping mechanism. And that certainly isn't the way that I came to become an Orthodox Christian. It wasn't from my need to cope with anything. It wasn't even something I was looking for. In fact, I was raised Roman Catholic, just like Asman as well. And I also broke away from the Roman Catholic Church when I was quite young, because just like him, I was like, how could this be true? Look at how much, evil there is in the world, including in the church that is supposed to be Christ's church. Look at everything that's wrong with the world. And I was just like him, not versed in philosophy yet, not versed in good argumentation yet. I would be very surprised if Asmongold has ever heard about the argument, the transcendental argument for God, for example, or why the problem of evil, theodicy, is not an actual argument for the supposed non-existence of a God. And I think bigger than that, I don't think he cares. He certainly has made that clear on his stream several times. On the off chance that he ever saw this video, I think he would agree with me with what I'm about to say, is that even if he was presented with the best arguments that I know of for why not only God exists, but he must exist logically, I don't think he's care, because I don't think he would care. I don't think he's interested in that. He would probably be like, I don't care about that. That would be my exact prediction of what he would say. But for those of you that do see this video that may also watch and enjoy his content, please don't use his lifestyle or his reasoning as an example to make your own choices about something like that, because he is wrong. Fundamentally about, his supposed atheism or agnosticism, whatever he adheres to, which the most obvious presupposition he operates from is nihilism. It is wrong. I mean, it's not wrong because it's not wrong for any other reason than there are simply no good arguments for atheism. There are none. And if you're honest with yourself and you're seeking the truth, you ultimately come to realize that. For me, all the nihilists and atheists that I've ever come across are either secretly mad at God for either their life situation or the life situations of their loved ones or friends, or the state of the world, which is a fallen world. That is something that the Orthodox Church operates from as a presupposition. There just simply are no good arguments for being an atheist. There simply are no good arguments for being a nihilist. And both of those presuppositions, if you operate from those in its ultimate form, if you operate from either of those conclusions in a logically consistent manner, you will not be around very long. We'll just put it that way. But if you're less convicted of that, you might say that you are, agnostic or atheist or a nihilist, or that you don't care about anything. But deep down, I think you'll find that you do, even if it's nothing else than your own mortality. I think ultimately, if you come to understand that this life isn't all there is or all that there was meant to be, you come to understand that that's ultimately a better frame of reference to operate your life from. And I personally didn't reach that conclusion through any need for coping. I reached the conclusion from actually studying rhetoric and arguments and philosophy mostly. Because there's really nothing new under the sun. There's all these arguments have already been fleshed out. There's nothing anybody is going to say that's going to be new or that hasn't been said before. All of the logical fallacies are already laid out. If you know anything about debates, you know, people ignore those fallacies all the time and commit them all the time. But if you actually try to walk the narrow path of understanding what is or isn't a good argument and really caring about the truth above all things, the truth isn't some abstract idea. As I said, the truth is a person. And his name is Jesus Christ. Because no matter what life philosophy you subscribe to, none of them do the work that are required to live a fulfilling life as a human being that living the life as a Christian does. Because the truth is that we have a inherent problem in our nature. And that is that we need to be saved from ourselves.
Yeah. So that's about it. I think it's sugar in a soda. Yeah, I really don't want to have to stop drinking soda. I really love soda, but I probably will have to cut back on it. I will. At least until I can get the stress in my life down, right? It's like, how do you get to 100%, right? Because like I think that I can deal with, like, you know, if I didn't have any other stress factors, I feel like I'd feel fine. But I have like all these other things going on, and so it's like, it's just, you know, too many things take you over the edge. You can't get you can get type 2 and be skinny. Oh, diabetes? No, that's not really the issue at all. What was that? Lindsay can't breathe? No, I can breathe fine. It's not an issue. But I also have an issue with like my chest, where like my chest is like massively caved in, and because it's like massively caved in, there's an issue where it can, like, I don't know, I'd say it's like 10-15 minutes, so like a pretty fast walk. And at the end of it, I felt totally like fine and good. And so, yeah, I'll just keep doing that and just do another walk after. Actually, probably wasn't a mile. It was like 0.7 of a mile. Yeah, 0.7. But can you eat cereal from it? Maybe, I don't know. Inevitable medical stuff? I don't believe that. I mean, to be honest, you know, like I see myself feeling sick or, you know, not perfect, and I'm disgusted by it. Because growing up, I never would get sick. I would never like have any problem. Like, you know, again, I broke my tooth out so I could raid lead the Lich King, right? Like, I've been able to just power through everything. And so if I'm not feeling good, it makes me very insecure, to be honest. It makes me extremely insecure.
Yeah, and you're going to continue to feel insecure as you get older, and we all will, right? We're all going to get older. We're all going to be brought pretty low as far as having our body break down. So like I said earlier, there's not really a solution that you can provide for that problem. But you can't really accept that problem as a nihilist. I mean, you could, the most practical things to do as a nihilist are like things that I can't say because of TOS. Otherwise, you know, this whole pretending that you're just going to ignore your aging body is just a joke. It's not real.
And so yeah, because it's like for me growing up, like it was always an advantage that I had, that I would never get sick, I would never get tired, I wouldn't get like stressed out, or like I would get stressed out, but like it wouldn't be the same way as other people would, and I could always like outwork or like outperform somebody, and like feeling like I'm losing that is very upsetting. And
yeah, that's just narcissism. Yeah, you know, I mean,
so yeah, I just need to I need to dial things back a little bit. I don't want to talk a little any more about it. Let's move on.
yeah, you could dial things back all you want. Like I said, you could go on vacation for the rest of your life. He certainly doesn't have to do anything for the rest of his life if he really didn't want to. If he really didn't want to, he has to do nothing for the rest of his life. He has enough money with the way that he lives. He could last probably the rest of his life on the money he's made. But his, you know, I hate to say it, his personality, I don't want to use the word, is not going to allow him to do that. So it doesn't do the work that he thinks it does for him to just quote unquote work on his health and ignore the feeling of getting older. It doesn't do the heavy lifting required. So that's what I think about that. But anyway, oh, here's that video I was talking about. Or is this one? Dr. K chats with Asmon about his fear of death. No, there is a different one where it's like, there's this weird thing, like, I'm not entirely sure like how authentic like that whole Dr. K interview was. Like, I don't know. Feels like it was just done more for entertainment purposes, more so than it was done for any sort of reason that maybe Asmon was trying to seek out the truth about anything. You got to remember, these big, huge content creators don't do anything that genuine, I don't think. Like, even his video about his health, like, that he just did, was, I mean, that's for the channel at the end of the day, because he felt like he needed to explain himself, even though he could disappear for a year and not say anything and come back, and everybody that was watching would just come right back. He doesn't have to explain anything, but his narcissism won't let him do that. But anyway, I think that about sums up my thoughts on it. Ultimately, his anxiety is probably stemming from his presupposition of nihilism as his worldview, and juxtaposed against the fact that he's getting older and he's seeing his body not being able to cope with his old lifestyle eating habits the same way that it was able to when he was younger. And he can get as healthy as he wants, but that's ultimately not going to cure his fear of death, certainly, or his lack of fulfillment, as it were. Because, you know, don't let me make this video put into your head that I'm some sort of perfect human being. I'm far from it, and I deal with the anxieties of daily life and stress of daily life just like everybody else. And I'm afraid to die, but not for the same reason that Asmon is. You know, I'm afraid to die fearing that I have not pleased, God, and that, I didn't live in the way that he has commanded me to. Asmon's fear of dying is, he doesn't get to stream anymore, and it's lights out on his party. That's his fear of death. So I guess what I'm trying to say is your worldview is important, and it's important because there is objective truth. There is subjective truth, and there is objective truth, and the objective truth is arguably, you know, more important to try to figure out. You don't have to have an opinion on everything. But the big ultimate truths about life, you better figure that out, because the longer you wait, the closer we're all getting to the end. And you're going to have an anxiety disorder or an existential crisis or a midlife crisis at some point if you don't figure that out. So if you're a younger guy, like in your mid 30s or mid 20s or younger, and you've been watching Asmongold and you stumble across this video, you know, I would urge you to put your ego aside and start searching for the truth. And I can tell you what the truth is. And the truth is a person. The truth, the person is Jesus Christ. And there's a lot of arguments that can be made, some good, some bad, as to why that is true. But everybody that I know that has investigated that thoroughly and searched for the truth, a lot of them get led to the same conclusion, and there's a reason for that, you know. And I'm sitting here saying that as a middle-aged, or hopefully not middle-aged, a middle 30-year-old person, you know, having gone through all this same stuff, man, like having left the church early, young, thought I was an atheist, then I thought I was an agnostic, then I thought I would go explore other religions, blah blah blah. Then, you know, then I was like, oh man, like, you know, how do you decipher the truth? Well, you have to learn what is and what isn't a good argument, and you have to learn how to read the historical record in a way that says, you know, why does X lead to Y and vice versa, and why do all these other religions point towards one religion? You know, I don't think most people believe that something can come from nothing. I think that that's one of the most logically inconsistent presuppositions that could ever be, and yet our secular society has somehow succeeded into convincing people that that is the baseline truth, that there was nothing and all of a sudden there was everything from nothing. And I think if you come to that with an open mind and you say, hey, how could that be true? Well, one way it could be true is if there was a being that is not subject to space, time, or matter, that spoke everything into existence. That could be a logical conclusion, because logic doesn't change. So, anyway, it was an interesting video.